So, this is the conclusion of my time in a third world prison. May 27th, 2025, at approximately 9 p.m., I walked back on American soil, back in the US. And what can I say in conclusion? I said a lot. um, it was interesting when I was at the airport. I looked around. Once I walked, so I was given at the kiosk or check-in. Um, the immigration officers gave me my passport. It was stamped. Gave me my passport back. And I got my plane ticket. I did not get my daughter's birth certificate. The birth certificate that I had given to immigration, they did not give it back to me. My daughter's original birth certificate. And I was the only parent listed on that birth certificate because I was unmarried and living by myself when I gave birth to my daughter. And at that point, wasn't getting any help from anyone. And I was just on my own, living in domestic violence safe house. So I was not given that back at the Belize airport. And when I walked to the waiting area after I went through security, it was so interesting looking at all the people waiting to board the flight to the US. Everyone looked so new. Like everyone's clothes were so brand new. Their shoes were so brand new. Like no one's clothes, no one's shoes were worn. Everyone looked so overdone. Like everyone had their hair well done, like highlights, mousse. Everyone was tan. Everyone, even the men were like had their eyebrows done. You could tell people had gotten gets facials. Everyone looked so what I would call over made up. Like they were just too fancy. And I had just seen another world, a world where people wore clothes that had been worn. They wore their clothes until they couldn't be worn anymore. And their shoes were dirty and they look worn, not bad, but just used. And everyone's hair was like people their hair was done and and taken care of, but it didn't look like they had got it done at a hair salon. No one, you didn't see a lot of people with their hair all dyed up or with highlights. But at the airport, I was like, wow, Americans spend a lot of money on maintenance, like their self-care. It was weird. It was weird. And on the flight, I was journaling. I do remember that. Did I sleep? No, I think I watched television. I watched movies. I didn't sleep. I was just kind of like in a state of shock. Like what just happened? What did I just live through? And then the fact that I didn't have my baby. I didn't have Makita, and I had no idea how she was, what was going on with her. So I was in a state of shock about that. It just felt weird to not be caring for or holding my daughter. Yeah. That's my conclusion. Nothing deep or insightful to say. I think there's not much to say, just processing it all. The politics, the systems that we have in place, the state, at a city, at the county level, the state level, the federal, as well as the international level. I have a new sense of awareness about how that stuff works, especially countries that are in the US's back pocket. Yeah. It changes your understanding and your perception of the world. Seeing the living conditions that people are put through in other countries, and just how very privileged the United States is. And honestly, realizing like parts of our society, like we're living in a constant state of luxury. Even people who are considered poor, like there's a certain level of luxury everyone's living under compared to other countries. And it helps you kind of understand like what do you actually need versus what are niceties. What do you actually need to live day to day? What do you actually need to thrive versus living in this perpetual state of consumption and never being truly satisfied? And even like being in this state of constant consumption, it's not actually freeing. It's a form of imprisonment, because you have to make a certain amount of money in order to maintain a consumer lifestyle. And it's not necessarily needed, like all the spending that happens in the United States. These aren't things that we need. It's just habit. It's just habits. But in all actuality, you don't need to spend all the time. It's better to buy whole foods and prepare your foods at home. Having a couple of outfits, having a few pair of shoes, like shoes for working, shoes to go to church in, shoes to work out in. So maybe 2-3 pairs of shoes is all you really need, versus like a closet packed with shoes upon shoes. Like it's excessive. And I don't know if it's really fulfilling. This has just overall been a very grounding experience, very humbling. And I'm very thankful for my relationship with God. I'm very thankful for my commitment towards my faith, to ground myself. But this is definitely a journey I don't wish on anyone. And I'm just very prayerful